Wake up in the grind, clock ticking, 20 minutes flat, freedom main-handed knives.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the 20-Minute Freedom Project. I am your host, Josh Lopez, and I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and hopefully they didn't eat too much food and pass out on the couch. But today's topic is to forgive or not to forgive. The choice that will cost you. When you think of forgiveness, what comes to mind? I'm not referring to the Instagram version of forgiveness, not the love and light bullshit you see in the group or the quote memes, or that half-hearted "I'm sorry" people say pretty much without thinking. I'm talking about real, ugly, uncomfortable kind of forgiveness. The kind that where someone did something so messed up, so unfair, so painful, that a part of you still clenches just thinking about it. So today, we're going into the truth most people never learn. If you don't learn to forgive, your life will never be free. Your energy will never be clean, and your mind will never be your own. So let's unpack that a little bit. I wanted to start with a moment I don't really talk about too often, even though it seems to come up more and more in these episodes. A few years back, I had someone in my life, close friend, someone I trusted, who actually became a business partner of mine. We built together, we hustled together, we dreamed big together most of the time. Those late nights where you're talking about the future or knocking out something that you hadn't quite got done during the day. Hyping each other up, believing you're building the next big thing. Yeah, that was us in a nutshell. Then slowly over time, things started to shift. And not in a way that you want them to go. You ever notice how things unravel, but they don't happen all at once? It's a slow drip. It's kind of like water eroding stone. There's a weird energy. Stories don't line up. Decisions being made that don't align with where you're going. Just to name a few. But then you wake up one day and you realize that the person you trusted is not the same person. You had seen sides of them, and other people had seen signs of them, but you did not choose to actually take that truly to heart and realize this person could do something that would cause so many issues. I remember when it all came to a head, I was angry, hurt, and confused. I asked myself, how the hell did this happen? How could they do this? What did I do wrong? Do I burn the bridge? Or do I burn the whole damn village? And here's the truth. I was just truly angry. And it was the anger that cuts deep. It's what sticks around. It's what festers and if you don't deal with it. For weeks, I carried the bitterness. It followed me into the gym, into meetings, into my relationships, into my thoughts when I thought I was doing better. It would pop up and rear its ugly head. Or the worst kind when you're laying in bed trying to fall asleep and it throws a wrench into that. It was like walking around with a backpack full of rocks or a rucksack on all the time. And no matter how hard you tried, you just couldn't take it off. Every time I thought about it, I felt the surge of anger. I wanted revenge. I wanted justice. I wanted things to be different. But here's what I learned painfully. When you hold a grudge, you hand the other person the remote to your emotions, your energy, and your abilities to move on and do things with your life. I'm sure he was moving on with his life. He wasn't thinking about me. He wasn't losing any sleep. He wasn't waking up stressed, anxious, and angry. I was. I was the one carrying it. I was the one bleeding. I was the one losing energy, time, creativity, and focus. And I realized something. I could keep replaying that betrayal forever, or I could pull my energy back and move the fuck on. The forgiveness wasn't about him. It was about regaining the emotional bandwidth that I had lost. Because here's the real shit. The pain wasn't the worst part. The fear wasn't the worst part. The worst part was what came after. When the mind gets quiet. When the room goes dark. When the body stops running on adrenaline. And when anger gets the better of you and starts whispering in your ear, get even. Make them pay. Hold on to this. Don't let it go. I'm sure you know that voice. We all do. In one way or another. That voice is seductive. It makes you feel strong in the moment. It makes you feel righteous. It makes you feel like you're holding on to the grudge is some kind of power move. But when it comes down to it, what I learned the hard way is this. A grudge is just an emotional debt that you keep paying interest on. Every thought about revenge, it costs you. Every moment you replay the hurt, it costs you. Every time you see their face in your head or hear their words echo months later, it costs you. And the price is your peace, your energy, your creativity, your potential, your ability to build something new, to truly move on. You only get so much emotional bandwidth each day. And most people waste half of it on reliving shit they can't change. It's in the past. It's time to move on. Let's get into the psychology here, because it isn't just think positive advice. There are reasons why we cling on to grudges. They make us feel more morally superior. They give us a false sense of control. They distract us from grieving the actual pain. They act as a shield. If I don't forgive you, you can't hurt me again. But the research is clear. The Harvard Medical School published findings showing that holding on to anger directly elevates your cortisol. It disrupts your sleep, decreases your immune system. It means you're going to get sick more often. It raises your blood pressure and limits your cognitive performance. I don't know if you were following along with that. That's not emotional. That's biological. And there's a quote from Forgive and Forget that hits like a baseball bat to the face. To forgive is to set a prisoner free and discover that your prisoner was you. Let me say that again. To forgive is to set a prisoner free and discover that the prisoner was you. Because most people are walking around with emotional handcuffs and they don't even realize they're the ones holding the key. I need you to hear this part clearly. Forgiveness does not mean you excuse what happened. You forget it. You pretend it didn't hurt. You allow the person back in your life. None of those. You don't have to do any of that. Forgiveness means you refuse to let their actions control the rest of your life. It's your life. You're the one in control of it. Don't let them be in control of your life. Forgiveness is the moment you say, yeah, you hurt me. You did me wrong. But you don't get to rent space in my head rent-free anymore. It's like an emotional eviction notice. It's reclaiming your energy, your attention, and your future. Some of you listening right now are building a life at half power. You're chasing your goals at half power. You're showing up to relationships at half power. Because 20, 40, sometimes 80% of your energy is trapped in old stories, old betrayals, old wounds, old versions of yourself. You can't build a future if your emotional battery is still connected to your past. It's time to cut the cord. Let it go. Let me go back to that time. Once the chaos storm in my head calmed down, I found myself alone. And in that silence, I had to make a decision. Do I let this define me? Do I let this turn me into someone I don't want to be? Do I carry this hatred for years and let it poison my relationships, my work, my mind, my future, my potential? Or do I let this shit go? Not for him, but for me. And I realized something powerful. Forgiveness is not a feeling. It's a decision, a discipline. Let's call it a muscle. And muscles only grow when you put them under pressure. You work them. Choosing to forgive that moment, that person, didn't make me weak. It made me unstoppable. Because when you realize you can forgive something, everything else in life gets lighter. Dr. Fred Luskin, I think it is, at Stanford, ran one of the most famous forgiveness studies ever conducted. He found that people who practiced genuine forgiveness experienced higher energy levels, better focus, lower stress, healthier relationships, increased productivity, just a greater overall life satisfaction. And the part that stuck with me was this. Forgiveness is the experience of peace in the present moment. Peace, not revenge, not justice. Because the truth is, most of the people you're mad at are not thinking about you. They're off living their own lives. They're moving on. And in some cases, they have no idea that they offended you or hurt you. But you are the one carrying the weight. You're the one bleeding from a cut someone else walked away from. And that's why forgiveness is your freedom strategy. To bring forth all your energy and your abilities and be able to give yourself emotional energy that you have been depriving yourself of. Let me give you a practical framework, something that you can actually use. We're going to call it the 4 R's of forgiveness. Number 1, recognize the wound. Stop pretending it didn't hurt. Stop acting like it doesn't matter. You can't heal what you refuse to admit exists. The second R is release the story. You're suffocating. Your suffering isn't caused by what happened. It's caused by the story you've been replaying. When you replay it, it creates resentment, and resentment creates bitterness, and bitterness kills your growth. So release the damn story and stop rehearsing the pain. Third R is reframe the lesson. Every wound carries wisdom. Every betrayal teaches you boundaries. And every heartbreak sharpens your discernment. So ask yourself, what did this teach me? Who did this turn me into? How did this make me stronger? And how can I use this in the future? Number 4, reclaim your energy. This is the moment you decide, I won't let this live in my head rent-free anymore. I won't let this shape me anymore. I'm done renting out my emotional real estate to people who don't deserve it. You pull your energy back into yourself. That's forgiveness, not softness, not weakness, not surrender. You are reclaiming your energy and your mental and emotional bandwidth. Abraham Lincoln had a forgiveness habit that I feel I should share. Whenever someone pissed him off, whenever a general screwed up, or a politician stabbed him in verbally, he would sit down and write what he called the hot letter, the raw, unfiltered version of everything he wanted to say. Then he'd fold it up, mark it, never sent, never signed, and stick it in his desk. That was his release. That was his forgiveness rep. And here's the crazy part. He never mailed those letters because he understood something deeper than most people do. Forgiveness isn't always about fixing the relationship. It's about freeing yourself from the weight of the emotions. Sometimes forgiveness means writing the letter and then letting it go. So if Abraham Lincoln, during the Civil War, could take a breath, write the truth of exactly how he felt, and release it without burning down the world, you and I can do the exact same. And that's why the challenge of this week is so simple. It's simple, not always easy, but simple. Write a letter that you'll never send. Identify one person you're still holding resentments toward, and write a letter you'll never send. In that letter, do the same as Abraham Lincoln. Tell the truth. What they did, how it affected you, what it taught you, and that you're releasing the hold it has on your life. I would say that you probably shouldn't mail it, or email it, or text it. You don't even have to speak to them again. But you do need to get it out of your body, out of your mind, out of your energy. And forgiveness is the release. So release it. And I would actually recommend that you take that and build it into a ritual and habit. There is a framework that Garrett J. White uses, and one of those things is the angry stack. It is almost identical to Abraham Lincoln's hot letter. You write out everything you wanted to say to that person. We're not saying that this could be anybody. This could be the person that cut you off in traffic. This could be your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. It could be a family member. It could be your best friend. It could be a business partner. For everything that just pisses you off, you can write one of these letters. You write it out, you never send it, and you can You write out exactly how you want to talk to them. Not the filtered version, the actual version that you want to tell them. And you write it out. You're going to stack it, as Garrett would say. You're going to write it out in great detail. Get it out of your mental space and your body and get that energy out. You can write it out on paper. You can put it in your notes under a folder saying hot letters. Get it out of your body. Don't let that weigh you down anymore. You deserve a life that's free, a mind that's clear, a heart that's unburdened. But you cannot build the future you want if you're dragging the past behind you. Cut those chains. Free yourself. Step forward into the light with clean energy. And remember, your freedom is not found. It's built, one rep at a time. And if there's somebody that you feel would benefit from this episode, share it with them. And I will catch you on the next one.